I'm Akira, and today I'm going to be talking about Dmenu, which is a system utility in Linux that you can use to make menus and insert into a bunch of scripts, and I'll just get into it. I'm running Parabola Linux. It's a version of Arch Linux. Not that important what distribution I use, but just if you're wondering. So Dmenu is a system utility made by a group of programmers. They call themselves Suckless, so suckless.org is their website, and their philosophy is: we are the home of quality software such as DWM, Dmenu ST, and plenty of other tools with a focus on simplicity, clarity, and frugality. Our philosophy is about keeping things simple, minimal, and usable. And so everything I'm using on the desktop is basically made by this group of programmers. They make a small program that doesn't have a lot of features, and they expect you to add in whatever features you want. And they don't maintain; they just maintain the main core program. And people have made patches that add extra features, and you have to do that yourself. So you have to patch the program and recompile it if you want extra features. Seems kind of intense, but it's actually really easy. So anyway, the tool I'll be talking about today is Dmenu. Dmenu is a dynamic menu for X. That just means a dynamic menu for a graphical interface like what I'm using right here. So the screen. Originally designed for DWM, it manages large numbers of user-defined menu items efficiently. So, what is Dmenu? Here, actually, I'll kill this. Dmenu by itself, if you just do, Dmenu run, it opens up a launcher, and you can launch any script, any program that you have installed from this menu. So, say I'll launch the Brave browser. You see, it opens up Brave or whatever. Or what else do I have? If I type Dmenu run, and I can type surf duckduckgo.com, and it opens Surf, a different browser that I use. This Surf browser is also made by Suckless. Close that. But that's like really the smallest part of Dmenu. What Dmenu you can really use for Dmenu is you can make menus that take in standard text or standard input, and it will print out standard output. And I'll give you an example. So if I type printf, yes, I'll insert a line below, no, and I will pipe. So this is sending this input into a different program, into Dmenu. I'll give it the I option to say case insensitive selection, and I'll give it a prompt option with the text, do you like Dmenu? If I hit run, it should work. You see at the top it says, do you like Dmenu? And if I type in yes, it enters yes. If I type again, hit no, it outputs no. So this seems really basic, but you can use this for basically anything you want. So here, I'll close this, and I will give you my first example, which is a runner to start the text editor Vim. So I'll run my script, and it gives me different menus for different folders I want to look through. So if I type local, I will actually go to the script that I'm running right now and open it. So dvim, and it opens that file in the text editor. So let's go through this line by line. So first I want to define which folder I want. So I say printf, and here's a list of just my folder directories that I usually am going to go edit files in. And I will all separated by /n to give it a new line below. And I'll pipe that into Dmenu here. And that's when you see that first menu system. It's just showing you these different folders. Now check if I made a selection. So if I don't make a selection, it will the script will exit and stop running. Next, it will I'll run the command find on the folder selection, and this will output all the items in that directory recursively into Dmenu, and that's the second screen you see. So if I go to, so here's the first screen, .local, and then here are all the items it's looking through when it sees find .local. And then again, exit if there's no input. If there is input, spawn my terminal with the embed option, the editor. So the editor for terminal, my terminal is st, the editor is vim, and the selection is whatever I chose up here. And then it will open up the terminal with that vim, for that selection. Great. So here you can go, I went even a step further than just opening the text file. So I just wrote this up in like a second. If I run, what's it called? Dmenu, I can now do this, but with any file. So if I go to media, no, I don't want to go to media. I want to go to local wallpapers and type in some image. It automatically pulls up that image in an image viewer called SXIV. What else? And then it also works for the files, just like the other script I just ran. So if I go run it again, fdmenu .local, I'll open up fdmenu. And you can see it's actually exactly the same script, except it's going to run a different script inside it called file handler. So I'll actually go open that up. File handler. File handler is just a different case statement. You can think of case statements as, here are a bunch of buckets. When you recognize that whatever your entry is falls into that bucket, do this command. So here you have a bunch of video files, and they will, if this script sees a video file, it will open up a video player called MPV to play it. If it sees an image, it'll do SXIV, which is an image viewer for that selection. If it sees a PDF, it will use Zathura, which is a PDF image PDF viewer. And this won't work, but I haven't figured it out yet. But you could also probably do this for MP3s. I've tried to do it; it hasn't worked yet. And then if it doesn't recognize any of these file types, it will just open up that file in a terminal. So that's how that works. Very useful. Here, I'll just show that you can also do this with the PDF. It's fdmenu. I think I put something in my downloads called white paper, and it opens up. I just downloaded a random white paper for Chainlink, which is a cryptocurrency, but see, it works with that too. All right, I went through the menu options. Okay, the next thing I did was I made a image downloader. So I'll actually go and search desktop backgrounds. Oh, didn't spell it right, that's okay. And I'll click on this image, view file. Oh, it's gonna take me somewhere. Oh, this is terrible. All right, doesn't matter. Copy image address, and I have a script called DL image, and it will give me a question, which place do I want to download this in. This is not a wallpaper I actually want, but I'll just put it in downloads, and it downloaded that file. You see I have a little notification telling me it downloaded. So how that works If I go into my .local DL image. Okay, so I define a variable called image, and it takes in whatever I have copied to my clipboard. Then I open up a Dmenu prompt saying which directory do I want this to be in. And I pick either downloads or wallpapers. And then I write a case statement. So just like I said before, buckets. And I say, did I pick downloads? Then download that file using wget, which is a utility. It stands for webget. And with the directory, that's my download directory alias. So that's the same for wallpapers. And if I didn't choose something, I think it just downloads the image to my home directory. And then it will notify me that the image was saved. So that's another example. All right, one more example is actually I used it a few seconds ago or a few minutes ago. I made a kind of meta web browser and bookmarking utility. So if I use my shortcut for it, it opens up a prompt, and if I type just whatever, anything, Dmenu, it will open up a web browser with that search automatically. And if I bring it up again and I type in suckless.org, brings up that website. And then I also have bookmarks. So here I just have two bookmarks. One is my web page, one is my GitHub. I'll type in that. Should open it up. Yep, that works. Then also I added some search options. So if I type in YouTube, type in Dmenu, opens up a search query in YouTube for that Dmenu. I have other options here. Bull is a shopping website. Cirx is another search engine. And then lastly, I have something called Switch Browser. And Switch Browser lets me change for this session which browser I want to use. Usually I want to use Surf because it's small and minimal. It just displays web pages. But if I need a full browser, I can switch to Brave. And I can go to, do the same stuff I did before. Brings it up in Brave. Additionally, I added in kind of a bookmark manager. So let me think. How about suckless.org? I have a shortcut that copies the web page with Control Y. If I press my binding for my script, which is Super Shift Y, it will give me a menu asking me if I want to add this website to my bookmarks. I'll hit yes. I get a message saying that I've added it. And then if I go back to my bookmarks, it should be there. Yep, there it is. So, and then if I wanted to remove it, I probably won't want to remove bookmarks that often, but if I do have a script for it called unbookmarker. And I can select any of these and it will remove it. Cool. Anything else here? No. So now I'll go explain how I did this. So I'll actually just go in the normal way, since I'm going to be opening multiple files. So in my repository for this these scripts, I have three. I have Bookmarker, that's the one that makes the bookmarks. Unbookmarker, that's the one which removes the bookmarks, and Bookmark Surf, which is the web starter that you saw before. So open up Bookmarker. What does a bookmarker do? Bookmarker takes whatever is in my clipboard, and it tries to download get the title of that web page, and this is some selection process that it tries to find the title. All this text right here. I don't really know it very well, but it basically just searches for the title of that web page and grabs it. If I already have that title in my bookmarks, or no, this says if I didn't find a title, a URL wasn't found. So let's see. If I type in whatever, and I'll copy that to my clipboard and try to run the script, it shouldn't work. So I get a small notification that says URL not found. So because what I typed in wasn't a real URL. So then what it does is it checks if I already have this bookmark with grep. And grep is just a kind of text searcher for files. I give it the Q option, which means quiet. And I give it the X option, which means the whole string has to match for it to be successful. So if the whole string is successfully matched with the title in the bookmark titles file, then it will notify send that page is already in Bookmarks. So if I go to my Bookmarks, open up this page, this is my web page. If I try to add it, it says Akira Nakano's web page is already in Bookmarks. All right. So finally, it gives if these all fail, it will ask if I want to add that bookmark to my Bookmarks, and then it will exit. If I hit no, if I hit yes, it will send the bookmark that I'm saving to my Bookmarks file, and it will send the title of that bookmark to my bookmark titles file, and it will notify me that I've added the bookmarks. So the purpose of this is to keep the list of web pages nice and clean. So no, I don't add the title at the end because I want any browser to be able to just look at the bookmarks at the web links by themselves. So if I open Surf and I hit Control G to go somewhere, you can see that those bookmarks are also there. And if I had done some kind of concatenation on the file, this wouldn't work. Cool. All right, let's look at Unbookmarker. What does Unbookmarker do? It will print out all the bookmark titles that I have into a Dmenu, and with the prompt remove bookmark. If I select nothing, it exits. And if I do select something, it will find the number. This index is the index of what number line in the file that bookmark is. So it says grep nx bookmark in the bookmark titles page, and just give me the number. And now it will use some commands called sed, which is a text stream editor, and it will remove the line that I found for both files, and to say that the bookmark was removed. Lastly, I'll go over bookmark surf. All right, this is a bit complicated, but what this says is while true is just a easy way for me to get into a loop situation, and this is very useful just so that when I choose switch browser and choose a browser, so if I choose Brave, Surf, or VimB, it will actually loop back to the start, but have that variable saved. It'll have this new browser variable saved. Anyway, so what does it do? Bookmark is printf bookmarks switch browser YouTube search bool. Take that input and put it into a Dmenu. If I don't select anything, just exit. Now this is a case statement, like I said before, which is like I'm just sifting my results, my choices into a bucket. If YouTube, give me a Dmenu for input for YouTube, take that input and put it into this link. And so that's how that works. It will take the YouTube search query link and just add the text at the end. And all of these entries will have a break in them except for the switch browser. And that's why I do it this way, because if I get a link selection, I want to break out of this loop. So every time it says break, that means exit this loop and run the code at the bottom. And then the only case I don't want that to happen is if I'm switching browsers. So in the case that it sees I select bookmarks, it will check if there's a bookmark file, and then if there is a bookmark file, it will let me select with a Dmenu the bookmark titles, and now it will then find the number line of that file in the bookmark titles and find that same number in bookmarks and get that link. So that's what this does. This says using a stream editor, get the number of the file with that number as the number line, get that text and save it as link. Then this says if that doesn't work, just type in whatever, get whatever text that you put in for entry and leave. And then here, this is the case where there is no bookmarks title. So this is if the bookmark titles file is not empty, check for stuff. If it is empty, just give me a menu that says search a URL and break. So this is the case if someone else is using the script, they don't have any bookmarks there, then it will just default to you can either type your URL or search. And then finally, if anything else happens, just keep the link as whatever you put in for bookmark and break. Okay, I feel like I'm rambling, but whatever. Okay, so this is all just to get, what am I going to put in down here? What's going to go into here at the end? That's what this whole while loop is for. So the next bit of code is, I guess, a bit hard to explain, but I'll try. Or maybe I'm just not good at explaining, but this will check, this says check if link exists. So check if I actually made a choice somewhere in this code block. If I didn't make a choice, just exit the script. The next line says, did I choose a new browser? If I didn't choose a new browser, set new browser to my browser variable. So by default, I have a browser variable set. It's surf. Okay, this next line says, does new browser equal surf, or does new browser equal vimb? If it does, run in the tabbed version of that browser. So let's explain that. So if I type in surf suckless.org, it brings up a non-tabbed version of that web page. So this is just a normal web page. There's no tabs. So that's like kind of, I guess, a missing feature. If you don't add it in, you can still go to other websites or whatever you want to do. But I want to run with tabs, so I can add multiple tabs if I really need it. So now if I use the program tabbed -R2 surf -E for embed X, so I can type in whatever, and I think if I just type suckless.org, should work. Yes. Anyway, and that will also work for vimb, which is a program that looks just like surf. It's just another minimalist web browser. All right, anyway. Now it will select, ask, did you make a choice? So choice is one of these options, one of these search options. It's going to assume that if you made choice, or if you successfully had an IDEX variable created, this basically will just say, now run with that link. So you'll see why in a second. So if you didn't select a bookmark, and you didn't select a search result, that means that you're either typing in a real website or you're typing in some kind of search into this script. So this says check for that. Check for a choice made in the search engine, or check if you're selecting a bookmark and just run it. So there's no checks to see if that's a real website. It's going to assume that's a real website here. That's what this is for. So I can avoid an extra program if I'm just going straight to a web page. Okay. Now, if that fails, if you didn't select choice or if you didn't select a bookmark, I want to check, did whatever you selected, is it a real website? And that's what this is. This checks, is it a real website? Whatever you typed in. If it is, open with that website. And then lastly, if it's not a website, pipe that text into DuckDuckGo and search it. So that's how that works. So basically the point is I made a web runner that I can select anything I want, do whatever I want, and it will work. You can type Dmenu, okay, it fails to find a real website, so it searches for it, etc. So those are a few examples of how you can extend and use Dmenu. All right.